All right. So, how are we doing on this fine Thursday evening? Welcome to the exclusively Male Life and Relationships Podcast, episode 2. I am your host. My name is Eric. My friends call me Jaws. Let's get started. Um, Usually at the beginning of these, I'm doing them live. So I'll just have a little something to say at the beginning of each one. Now, today, most of you who are going to watch this as fans of the hockey channel already know. Today is 1 year ago today that my last dog, Fluffy, passed away after, let's just say, the longest 2 months of anybody's life that they could ever imagine. And the interesting thing about this video that you're watching right now is that I was pretty close. I was having good success with this channel. I was posting regularly. Subscribers were going up. Views were doing well. I was having good success. And he passed. And I kind of stopped posting for a while. And I was sporadic with things, tried some different things. And it's only been now in the last 2 weeks that I've really rededicated and started posting again hardcore and being serious about things. The point there being it took me a year. It took me the better part of a year to even begin to regain some semblance of self again. And when he died, now you may say, well, I know you love your dogs, but what was the, not saying what was the big deal, but when he passed, I'm 53. When he passed, that ended 27 straight years of me having dogs, most of the time 2 or 3. And so that's 27 straight years of get up, take care of the dogs. That was my life. I mean, I was married, I had kids, younger days, got divorced. Now I'm in a really good relationship, but we don't live together. So my everyday, no matter what circumstance, was get up, take the dogs outside, feed them, go to the river, come home, feed them again. And they kept, I had, no matter what I was doing work-wise, no matter what my life was, I had everything in a box. You know what I mean? Take care of the dogs, and then everything else kind of slotted in as secondary, including work. And so when he passed, it just kind of like face planted, like everything just stops. It just stops. And so I had 3 dogs. Sonia died around the COVID, November of 2020. Then Ellie died in March of last year. And then Fluffy went right downhill and died July 10th. And then 3 weeks later, my long-term relationship, my girlfriend at that time, she left. So from March to the end of July, like every single thing that you could basically define my life by was just gone. Everything that I would do on a daily basis, just delete, Control Alt Delete. A whole life got Control Alt deleted. And now the reason why I'm bringing that up is because recently, when I recommitted to doing content on this channel, I've started doing a series called 90 Days to Becoming a Better Man. And all that I'm doing in those videos is just sharing the strategies and the techniques that I used over the last year, so that if anybody ends up in the same type of situation, if you end up just where you feel like you've just been completely flattened, maybe you have some help there, some ways to, I want to say cope, but just some ways to handle certain things that come up And especially when you have, such crazy things, two dogs dying, relationship ends. Like there's a lot of, could I have done something different? I mean, with the dogs, like, could I have done something different? And so before you can even begin to rebuild, not even rebuild, you have to build something completely brand new. And I still have the hockey channel, right? Still have the eBay store, but everything else, like my whole routine, just, I mean, even now, I mean, my normal routine, get up, like I said, even it's a year later, and I've had some weeks where I've been able to get into a routine, to get up, go to the gym, and get into a routine. Don't stick. It don't stick. I created a new routine when I was, as soon as they passed, my routine ended up changing to where now I'll be up till midnight, 1 o'clock, working or outside walking around. And I have not been able to change that. And so at some point here recently, I just decided to stop trying to change it and just use it to my advantage. And so some of the things that I talk about in these videos, the 90 days, are just the strategies, the ways that I use to recognize certain patterns within myself, whether they be good or bad. And I'm a big believer in not trying to force yourself to make changes that aren't coming regularly or easily. Like I know things are hard, things take work. But sometimes, and this is a technique I used on Kyle. Kyle's my oldest son. He has autism. And he's struggled many times to trying to sort through having a routine, a pattern to things, and consistency. And he would consistently run up on the same types of issues. And I sat him down a few times and said, instead of fighting who you are and fighting how you are, use it to your advantage. Instead of fighting it and trying to change it, sort it out and figure out how you can use who you are and how you are to your advantage. And it's worked a lot. I mean, he still struggles, we all do. But it's really helped him just sort of, like today's video was about having micro goals, and I talked about just creating your own positive feedback loop where you are consistently reinforcing things. The idea with the micro goals is to set things that are just so small, such a small goal, an extra 5 pounds at the gym, an extra 1 rep at the gym, just so that at the end of the day, when you're writing your journals, like I did better than yesterday. I did better than yesterday. And then the next day, I did a little bit better than yesterday. And just stack those micro goals. And that each time you did just the 0.5% better each day, it keeps you in a positive state of mind. It creates a positive feedback loop instead of good, bad. My goal today was to do 25 reps at 200 pounds. I only made it 23 reps. That's bad. No. Set minor, easily reachable goals so that you know you're going to reach it, and you just kind of trick yourself into having your own positive feedback loop. That helps with your confidence, which is going to allow you to become more honest with yourself, which is how you end up looking at yourself and being able to say, okay, this is how I am, this is how I am not, and using that to your advantage. And so it's been a long year. It's been a long year because, I got married when I was 23. Kyle was born 4 years later. We already had dogs at that point. And so I did dogs and kids from, I did marriage, dogs, kids from 23 to 53. And then one day I still have the kid. I still have Kyle here, but he's not a kid anymore. And so I had to completely just reassess and reevaluate. And because you pick up so many habits, you forget, especially once you got wife and kids, you constantly changing and reinventing what you're doing, because we were self-employed working from home, and you're constantly reinventing yourself to adapt to all of those things. And then when they're all gone and you're still running the same type of organizational program on yourself, sometimes you have to knock yourself in the head and be like, hey, you don't have to do it this way anymore. You can reassess now. You can reevaluate now. But it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, because we get comfortable in those programs. We get real comfortable with how things are going. And then it usually will take something like the death of a dog, end of a relationship, a loss of financial stability. It usually takes something pretty difficult to make you go, oh, maybe I should do some things just a little bit differently. So that's the start here for today. Take a sip. I see we got a couple people here, and we'll get to chatting. These teas, man, I never really had teas like this before. My girlfriend Donna spends the weekends, and this is what she likes, and now I'm addicted. So good thing they're on sale half the time. All right. Let me blow up this chat so I can see everybody. Colin, how we doing? Rosado, Kazuma. I think I saw one more. Hey, Guitar Crow, how we doing, bud? So we got a couple comments here. Let's see. Kazuma says, there's a girl I like, but being disabled and having to move back home, I'm afraid to ask her out due to constant rejection in the past. Due to this and my mental condition, any advice? I don't know what to do. So now the cheap and easy answer to that is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's easier said than done. The way I look at something like that is, are you in currently, do you feel that you are in a strong enough state to withstand a rejection? Because I hear what you're saying. You're afraid to ask her out due to the constant rejection. Okay. Nobody likes rejection, right? Absolutely nobody likes rejection. Totally, that's 100% across the board. Now, when you say you're afraid of the rejection, are you... What's the emotion that's coming up in that moment? What's the fear? Are you afraid of how you're going to react? Is it something where you think she might call you out to a friend group and spread it around? Because I know somebody was saying that, I think in the last stream, where somebody got turned down and then the girl kind of made fun of them publicly about it. So I guess the first part would be, what is the fear? And then once you assess what the fear is it something that you can control? Is it something that is only you're doing, or is it kind of you're unsure about what her reaction is going to be if she says no? So it's an interesting question, because, I don't know what your disability is, Kazuma, so I don't know if it's physical or if it's something more akin to what Kyle has. But the best advice I can give you in that sense is what you said. There's a girl I like, and I'm trying to scroll down to see if you answered no. Okay, so there's a girl I like, is what you said. Well, what I can tell you is this. Everything else set aside, the disability set aside, the fear of rejection set aside, and all of that. Okay, so he says, more like fear of being turned down for being disabled, not providing. My last ex, because I have seizures, so she couldn't take it, and not being able to work anymore. Well, then I'm glad you put it that way, because now that definitely solidifies the answer I was going to give you. And that is, I would suspect, if I was in your position, I would be more fearful of the regret later on down the road of not approaching her than I would be about the fear of rejection. Because as you get older and as eventually you're going to have success, eventually you're going to have some kind of success that way. And when you do, you might regret how long it took you to actually have the courage to make the move that led to the success. So my advice would be to be sure that you're strong enough to withstand what you're concerned about here, the fear of being turned down. And it's easier said than done. It's really easier said than done. It's easy to sit here on this side and say, hey, if she's the right one, she'll like you, or she'll accept and understand and all of that. But that's true. It is extremely true that when you meet somebody who doesn't judge you, you recognize how much other people were judging you. You don't see it in real time. Sometimes you're in a relationship with somebody, you're friends with them, whatever. You don't really see how they're kind of withholding their affection and withholding their positivity from you until you're with somebody who doesn't care. They like you and love you exactly the way you are, even if it's to their detriment, even if parts of you are an absolute pain in the ass to them, they still choose you. And once you have that experience, you recognize that, oh, I should have never settled for anything less than this. And that kind of takes a lot of patience and a lot of courage and a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error, man. And I'll tell you a rather embarrassing story. I'll tell you a rather embarrassing story. There was a girl named Yvonne, and this was in sometime middle school, beginning of high school, late middle school, early high school. And, we had a whole friend group. So it was like half dozen guys, 10 girls. And, we did what we did at that age, which was, a couple of us would date for a few weeks, then break up, date the other one. Everybody had dated everybody. We weren't having sex or anything, but, I like you, you like me, that type of thing. And there was another guy that she really liked. There was another guy that Yvonne really liked named Sal. I really liked Yvonne. And Yvonne was like, okay to me. Sal started going out with Julie. So to make Sal jealous, Yvonne asked to come over to my house on a Saturday night while my parents were out. So she came over. And I mean, what would it be, 15 at this point? 16? This would have been 16 at this point. Well, she came over in little teeny tiny short shorts, a little halter top. And I was just like an idiot drooling all over myself. And I remember it to this day. She went into the family room and she laid on the couch. And she said, come on, you want to lay with me? I didn't know what came over me in that moment. But I said, no, that's okay. No. Oh, okay. She sat up. She didn't stay much longer. Now that stuck with me for forever. And about 2 years ago, she messaged me on Facebook saying hi about something. It was something that happened with a mutual friend. I don't even remember what it was. And I said, hey, by the way, and I told her I was apologizing I said, this happened, and you laid down and asked me to come to the couch, and I rejected you, and I'm sorry, it wasn't. And I had this whole thing I felt bad about. You know, that son of a bitch didn't even remember what the hell I was talking about. She's like, I'm sorry, Eric. It probably happened, but I have no recollection. Because for her, she was only there to get Sal jealous. So sometimes we troll ourselves as men. Many times we troll ourselves into good things and bad things. And I mean that story, that I remember that the regret, like, damn, why? And it wasn't like I was thinking, oh boy, I would have had sex, but I was just like, as an adult, I was like disappointed in myself. I was like, why did I tell her no? Like, what happened to me? Like, I wanted to understand, like, what happened to me? Why did I do that? And that stuck with me all the way until I told her the story and I apologized. And when she didn't remember it, I was like, oh, shit. And I didn't even think about it again until telling you that story. So let me move on to, I see you had a couple other comments here. Hey, Colby. No, I'm not meaning to do that. Let's see. Colby says, my friend had a bad ending to a quick relationship that started at the end of school year. She was cheating around while studying abroad. And he said he was being mean for accusing her. He's now anti-women. He told my dad, I'm not going to like women for the next 6 months. Well, so Colby, I give you some advice that a lot of people won't like, but it's the truth. The overwhelming, and I mean the significant, overwhelming majority of people that are in relationships under the age of 22, 23, finding someone that actually is 100% faithful when you guys are apart is really like finding a needle in a haystack. It really is, especially if you take into consideration, you know, we were on a break for 2 weeks, so we got mad. And so I'm not saying it's not possible to find someone faithful, and I'm certainly not saying that people go into it with the intent of not being faithful. But I know in my case, in my friends' cases, most of the people I grew up with, you know, you had a boyfriend, you had a girlfriend. If you were out on a Saturday night and something came up and something happened, it's just not taken as seriously at that age. And so the point I'm making there is that if you are somebody who actually takes fidelity serious at that age, it's hard. It is hard because, especially the girls, but sometimes the guys too, they're going to cover for each other. You know, her friends are going to cover. Guys will cover most of the time. It's a difficult age to expect perfect fidelity because you guys are young and the hormones and the opportunity to meet people and engage in activities is just so abundant. You know, it's tough. And like to what you're saying, you know, he's going to be anti-women right now. It's like, well, sometimes you need to be honest and realistic about expectations. Sometimes it's better to be realistic about expectations. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Hey, Rosado. Suman says, thanks. A friend of mine said something similar. My confidence has gone down so I'm a different person. But funny enough, talking to a woman is not hard for me. But asking them out is, yeah, I get it, man. Confidence is a fleeting emotion many times. Colby, geez, yeah. Trey, no, you're good. Trey's good. How you doing, bud? Hey, Simon. So Donna and I met on Match.com, and we both had the same kind of take it or leave it. This is what you're going to get kind of attitude, and we're both we're at a point where we just didn't want to play any kind of. It's like we just entered things kind of in a mindset of like it's all or nothing, and she liked my profile on a Wednesday. We talked on Thursday, and I asked her out on a date, the first date. She said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Come over, I'll cook you dinner, bring the dog, and you'll spend the night." And she said, "Okay." We made one rule: we weren't going to have sex, and we held close. We didn't have sex. We didn't do anything. It was completely PG-13 ish. But that was it. That was it. I haven't let her leave the house since. I've got her locked up in the basement right now. No, she's. Trey, yeah, that's why older couples can move a little bit faster. Yeah. Colby, I don't necessarily disagree too much with that. Yeah, that's the younger people in general, regardless of gender. Absolutely, yeah. No disagreement there. Trey says it took the Panthers 30 years to become a destination. That's about how long it takes for people as well. Yeah. Zato, so what's with your self-esteem, bud? What's that all about? What's that all about? This is an interesting question. Colby says, by being a massage therapist, what I say, the amount of people who are closet bisexuals and cheaters are way higher than the stats display. So here's what I can tell you, amongst other things. Now, in the 5 years that I was a massage therapist, I easily had my hands on, in the 5 years, of at least 1,000 different women. Of those women, 40% of them said nothing. Come in, hi, how you doing? Here's your massage. Thank you. Have a nice day. 40%. Of the remaining 60%, one spoke in a positive manner about her husband. And I don't mean 1%. I mean one. Of the 60% of the women that spoke to me during the massages, one of them spoke positively about her husband. And that's because she was wheelchair ridden with MS and he took care of her. Now, I'm fairly certain that 60% of those husbands, if you would have said anything, oh no, my wife, no, not my wife. No, she's definitely faithful. She definitely was not faithful. Now, in terms of the guys, all I can say is the culture has just changed so much between now and then. It's just absurd. I had plenty of clients that I knew were gay. They never made a move. They never said anything inappropriate. I maybe had like 2 guys in the beginning when I first got out of school that, because I was doing house calls. And I learned real quick, they don't teach you this in massage school, but I learned real quick that if you're a guy and you're doing house calls and you go to a guy's house, they think something else is happening. So I stopped doing house calls for guys. But the female clients I had they had friends and they would refer me. And since so it was a different situation, they knew it was a just straight massage. But the culture around it was just so different now. I think there's a lot of guys, Colby, in that regard that will have sex with men but don't consider themselves bisexual. I know there's a lot of that goes on where they'll have sex with men. They will justify it by saying, well, my wife's not giving me any. My girlfriend's not giving me any. But if you ask them if they're bisexual, they say, hell no, I'm not. So it's wild. But in terms of the cheating, I mean, I can't speak for the guys because I was massaging women mostly. But in terms of the women, I don't care how much money you make, how good looking you are. I don't care none of that. If a woman is inclined that way, it's going to happen. That was just my experience. That's what I can speak about is my experience. I'm not saying everybody in the world, but that's been my experience. Zuma says, I wanted to try Match OkCupid, but everything is a paywall or girls with high expectations. Yeah. And Kazuma would Match because I paid for a 6-month subscription, but it was 1 month at a time. And I paid, I think, for my 2nd month. And then Donna and I became exclusive. And so I canceled the membership. I didn't need it anymore. They automatically charged the last 4 months. Just boom. They didn't even wait month to month. As soon as I canceled, they're like, okay. And they charged the whole last 4 months and then said, but you're still able to view the site for the last 4 months. Rosanna says, why do you think the birth rate is so low right now? I think it's a combination of a lot of things. See, Kazuma says, I believe because income and everybody works too much. Everybody's hormones are effed up. The food we eat, we don't get enough rest. We're too stressed. The amount of soy that men are intaking and they don't even know it is just astronomical. And the chemicals in the food is just brutal. And all of that like you see all the commercials now for Blue Chew and all the ED meds. And they're marketing this stuff to guys that are like 30 years old. They're showing like these young dudes. And I'm like, you shouldn't have ED at 30. Like, that's a problem. Simon, oh yeah, we eat together. We take a lot of naps. Boy, I'm not a big nap with somebody else type of person. I never napped with my ex-wife. And I didn't really ever nap with Karen. Maybe once or twice we did. But with Donna, she comes over and it's like we only get out of the bed so we can go take a nap. It's like I never slept with somebody that just like, and 2-3 hour naps. Like it's nothing for us to lay down and be like, that was another 3 hour nap. And we just boom, out. We lay down and we're just gone. So when she moves in, it's going to be a problem. I don't know how I'm supposed to get work done. And when she moves in, we're going to start OnlyFans where people can watch us nap. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I like that idea. That's a good idea. We'll start an OnlyFans where they can watch us nap. So Rosada, you say you think you just overthink things. Sometimes I think girls are too old, too young, and that would probably just reject you anyway. Well, most of the time they're going to reject you anyway. Whoever you are. Whoever you are. You know what I mean? Go for quality, not quantity. But you're young. You've got plenty of time to figure it out. What would you consider your game, Rosada? What would you consider, like if you were going to write a dating profile and you were going to write your positives, what would you write? Trey says, bro, don't say that. I send Om to the spa all the time. Sorry, Trey. Trey, I'll tell you here. We'll tell this story. I had just gotten out of massage school. I've been working at the spa a couple of days, just showing me around and all of that. And I'd had a few clients, and I get a woman client. She's probably my age now, mid-50s, whatever. Just normal, decent-looking woman. Nothing exceptional. Nothing great. Nothing either way. And so come in, and I start working on her back. And she says to me, boy, I wish I could get my husband to touch me like that. And without even thinking, without even batting an eye, I just quickly said, give him the $100 and see what happens. She shut up after that. I didn't hear another peep, and I ain't never saw her again. That was my first experience with how it was going to go. Simon, I don't know. I don't know if Kyle will. I don't know. I definitely don't have any stories about that. Trey says you don't want to do the hit on you, but at the same time, if they don't, it means you're ugly. Tarko says men are more replaceable than ever. Board swipe. That's actually it's not funny, but it's funny, Guitar Crow, because that's exactly how Donna described meeting me. She's like, no. Oh, Donna thought my profile was fake. Here's the story. She thought my profile was fake. She thought I was somebody that stole like a model's pictures or somebody's pictures off of Facebook. She thought it was fake. And then we had talked, right? We had talked. But anyway, so she's on her way over Friday night. I told you she's coming over for the first date. She's on her way over. She texts me 10 minutes away. And as a joke, I just said, new phone, who dis? And she stopped driving and called me almost in a panic, because when I said new phone, who dis? She's like, oh my God, he was fake. So yeah, the swipe thing is absolutely the truth. Trey says, all I got to do is put wasabi in your soy sauce and you're good. Wasabi. Kazuma, all you got in the free trial was single mothers looking for a baby daddy or really young girls looking for a sugar daddy. Yeah. And that age group, I can imagine. Trey says, naps are gas. Those are how afternoon quickies happen. Yep. So Rosada wants to know, I have an interesting question. Did music ever have an influence on my confidence or help me go over a heartbreak? I don't know about my confidence. I don't know about the confidence part. Felt good when I taught myself how to play piano. In terms of getting over a heartbreak, it's helped me get over anger. It's definitely helped me get like help channel anger that I had, for sure. Colby says, maybe not a hot take, but a lot of guys around my age, 20 or younger, who are constantly posting gym pics and workout with the same types are secretly experimenting with each other. Yeah, yep, no doubt about that. It's just looked differently now. Looked at differently now. You know what I mean? Colby wants to Western Europe is a lot like USA. Asia's families are run like 50s America. What do I think changed? Well, the way I look at it is that corporations way back in the 50s said, hey, if women go work too, we'll make a lot more money. And so it went from women were discouraged to going to work to women were encouraged to going to work to now women have to go to work because everything's so expensive. It used to be the women go to work, it was extra money, she could do what she want, et cetera, because the man could still handle most of the things. Now, stuff is so expensive that a woman don't got an option a lot of times unless the guy's banking a lot of money. And I mean, nowadays, honestly, you got to make six figures to be comfortable, like to support a family. Like 60, 70,000. If you got a wife and a kid, that is tight. That's going to be tight. Zai saying, I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but I feel like I can listen to people really well. I can have very personal conversations, play saxophone, guitar sometimes when you're free. Yeah, that's what I mean. You're positive. Your positive attributes. And that's actually pretty good, Rosado, saxophone. That should get you in somewhere. I'll tell you a true story about that, Rosado. It's actually a Rob Thomas story. Went to one of his concerts, and it was one of those storyteller type of concerts where he'd sing a song, tell a story. And he was getting ready to sing a Lionel Richie song on a piano. And he said after he got famous a little bit, one day he saw Lionel Richie. And he said, Lionel, man, your song, because he could play. Rob could play in high school. And Rob Thomas told Lionel Richie, he says, man, your songs got me so laid in high school. And Lionel said, yeah, me too. I thought that was funny. Stark goes, if you can see how many likes and matches average women get, it's overwhelming. Bad news for guys, though. Yeah, you have to find a way to stand out. And that's really the biggest key is you have to find a way to stand out. You're either born with a way to stand out or you have to manufacture a way to stand out. And it doesn't have to be something that you would call traditionally attractive. But just a way to grab attention, just a way to stand out. Some guys are born with it. Some guys have to develop it. And if you have to develop it, it's work. It really is. Because if it's not something that's naturally obvious, you may not be aware of it. From the time I can remember, when I would go to the grocery store with my mom, the cashiers would be like, Oh, you got beautiful blue eyes. Oh, you're going to kill the age. Oh, look at those eyes. So I grew up knowing I had nice eyes. So if you have an attribute that you know is a standout, use it. Find a way. And if you don't know, the truth is if you don't know, if you're a guy, you don't know if you have an attribute that you think can be made to be attractive to other women, ask your guy friends. Your guy friends will be honest with you. Don't ask the women. They'll lie. They won't tell you what you want to hear or what you need to hear. Ask your guy friends. And I'm not saying the women are going to lie on purpose. It's more like they're going to get it wrong. If it's not an obvious trait, right? Like if you're 6'2", you're jacked. It's like, well, you're 6'2" and you're jacked, right? Here we go, Trey. Zuma says, I feel today things are a competition. Women are like, what do you offer that the other can't? Here you go, Kazuma. So this was not my date. This was a client's date a while back. He was talking to me about he went out on a first date with a woman. And during the conversation, talking back and forth. And she was asking him questions, what do you like to do, this, that, and the other thing. And he says, I forget what her name was, so we'll just say Michelle. He asks her, he says, what is girlfriend Michelle like? Like, how do you act? How do you treat your man? What is it like being Michelle's boyfriend? How do you act? How do you treat your boyfriend? And he says she looked at him like he had five heads. And she's like, I don't even have an answer for that. That's a stupid question. She hadn't even thought about her end of the bargain. She was only interested in what his answers were. She had never thought what would happen if he asked the same questions of her. So Simon's asking, how do I deal with anxiety? So you go to sleep, that's how you do it. How do I deal with anxiety? I get in the gym. That's for me. I get in the gym. Or take a long walk. It take me 10, 15 miles to walk off some anxiety. Yeah. I noticed that as long as I'm getting to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, my anxiety level is 10% of what it would normally be. But that's for me. So physical activity is one. It's going to be different for everybody. And it's mainly whatever helps you blow off steam or helps you reset. Trey says, the good news is it's really not that hard to stand out. The dating field isn't exactly the Atlantic division. Were my dad's parents strict and no nonsense? My grandma was. His mother was. My grandfather was not. I mean, what a mixture. My grandmother was Orthodox Jewish, and my grandfather was just like this little Panamanian, pot-smoking, horny old man. And he'll tell you that himself. That's not me talking bad about him. I think he'd like that description of himself. They were as opposite as cheese and crackers. Kazuma says, I might have to move to South Korea. They're paying people to make babies? Jesus. That's wild. Guitarco says, I feel like things have changed. Now it's the women who tell guys, spin around and let me take a look at you. Well, because women have, you see, you're not wrong. But with social media now, women have just an extraordinarily higher amount of opportunities than men do. Because, you know, I mean, it's not a secret, right? A woman can kind of basically find a way to get whatever man she wants, where a man is really going to have to work hard to get that one that he might want, generally speaking. And so as a man, if there's 1,000 more women available to you, maybe you qualify for 10 of them. But as a woman, if there's 1,000 more men available to you, you probably qualify for 900 of them. So having that, I mean, if you ask her where she wants to go to dinner, I don't know. She can't make a decision, right? My ex-wife and I on University Drive between, I think it's Hollywood Boulevard, wherever University Drive starts, and then it just goes all the way north. There would be times we would be driving University Drive, no exaggeration, for almost 2 hours, up and down and up and down, looking at the restaurants. She'd be like, no, nah, no, maybe. Well, if I can't find something else, I'm not exaggerating. An hour easy. An hour was easy. So now extrapolate that to the dating market. And the shitty part about it is, like, what do you tell them? It's not like they're wrong. It's not like they can't just trade you in for a better model whenever they feel like it. You know what I mean? They know. So unless there's a really strong connection there, if things get even remotely difficult, they can just skippity-doo-dah. And guys can't, generally speaking. So how much lore do I have? Endless. It's endless, man. It's absolutely endless. I have lived the life, Rosado. Let me tell you. I have lived the life. Yeah, well, that's true. Because Uma said the dating scene sucks. Go out and spend a couple $100 and not guarantee you're going to get a second date. That's the brutal part. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Rosado. Yeah, well, 7th grade is 7th grade, right? What was I doing in 7th grade? What age is that? Is that like 14, 15? I was still more focused on judo and fishing at that age. Tarko says 9 out of 10 people who are in great shape don't suffer from constant anxiety. I learned the hard way. Face your fears, do hard things, and overcome. That's it. Yeah, it ain't easy, man. It's not easy. And that's, I put out a video on this channel that was kind of sarcastic, but it was true. And the video is like the best, easiest way for men over 50 to be in shape. And the answer was, get in shape when you're really young and never get out of shape. If I had never been a bodybuilder and never been an athlete, and I worked out as much as I work out now, I would have a dad bod. It wouldn't even be a decent dad bod. But because I was in such great shape in my younger days, I can a couple times a week get to the gym and look decent because the muscle memory just pops. Your body just, oh, we're doing this again. So that I was being sarcastic with the video a little bit, but it's true. You guys that are young, if you get into shape, get ripped, get jacked, then just don't let it go. Colby says, yeah, it was rare during Ron's time for the mother to be the strict one. Yeah. She, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Colin. If I didn't, I don't think I checked my email today. I'll check it tomorrow. Yeah, I know about the common law, Simon. I don't know how close Karen and I were to that. Kind of might be better off that she left when she did. What's it, 7 years? What's common law? Does anybody know? Does it vary? Zuma says, recently a friend of mine got with a girl. It turned out she had 2 kids living with her ex-husband for the kids and didn't bother to tell him. Now he doesn't want to date her anymore. He feels betrayed. Kazuma, I got another story. I went on Match, and this was right as I was meeting Donna, the week that I met Donna. Now, I had met a girl on Match, and we were talking, just texting a solid 2 weeks, maybe even 3. Just a little bit more. We started having some phone conversations. Everything was good. She wasn't overly attractive. She wasn't really significantly my type, but everything else seemed to be a halfway decent match. And what the hell? I'm 53, not 23. I'm not overly picky. So I finally asked her out on a date. So we had a date scheduled. The night before the date, we're on the phone. She says, well, I guess now's the time I should tell you. I'm still married and we still live together. He lives in the basement and I'm pretty sure he's smoking himself to death and he's probably going to be dead in a couple of years. So I don't want to leave because when he leaves, I'll inherit the house and that's my retirement plan. Yeah, that really happened. So when that happened, I did go on the date. Because what I was hoping, it was weird because I felt bad for her because she was crying while she's telling me this stuff, and I felt so bad for her. And I knew I wasn't going to continue the relationship, but I figured there was at least a 50% chance that we would meet and there'd be no chemistry. And so I could get out of it clean. Of course, that didn't happen. So the day after the date, I had to tell her, look, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like I want to build a life with somebody. I want to build a life with somebody. They're going to be around Kyle. And it's like, no, I can't be in a relationship with you while you're married, living at the what? Waiting for him to die. Like, good morning, baby. Did he die yet? I mean, what? What? And she was upset. Trey says, my girl can easily find someone that makes more than me. I suppose she could find someone better looking, but she'd be hard pressed to find someone who treats her better. And plus, you've got the belt. You've got the belt, right? Zuma says, used to work with a girl that was married but kept sleeping with her ex because her husband was always too tired from working. I asked, why not divorce? She said, because it's a good dad. I lost faith. Damn. Good job, Kataria. Good job. Yeah, the sugar's rough, man. Getting off the sugar is rough. Yeah, 2 times. Yeah. When do you get your second belt? So Simon, the decision to have kids was kind of, it's funny because when my ex-wife and I met and got married, all we would say is we're never having kids. We're not having kids. We do not want kids. And then we got Beezer. We got a dog. And my ex saw how I was with the dog, how I treated the dog. And so she thought, I want to have kids now. So we tried for almost like 2 years. She had been on birth control. And we tried for like 2 years. Nothing happened. So we said, whatever. And then as soon as we said whatever, she got pregnant. You get the belt in like September. Zuma says, I think it's cheaper to have fun. Another friend of mine travels to Colombia every year, spends his money on girls, says he knows it's fake love, but he has fun, and they can make him feel special. Well, here's what I'll say. As someone who has experienced being on the opposite end of that, as someone who has experienced being the payee and not the payer, it gets old after a while. It gets old, it gets empty after a while. Yeah. It's fun while it lasts, but then when you're done, it's like, I think I'm done. No, I never watched Sex and the City, Rosado. Colby, yeah, that's a whole ass another ball of wax there. Yeah. It's tough because it's just tough all the way around. Everybody working so much, everybody's so stressed. There's opportunity all over the place. It's like it's rough. Gotcha, Colin. Trey says, I'm having a kid, the first time born NHL player. What does the baby do, Trey? They took me to Colombia last year to boost my confidence, and it does help. I had fun, but then you come back and it goes away. Yeah. There's a Thai player on the Devils when he was born and raised in Switzerland. That doesn't count. Oh, my God. Miami Vice is the best, man. So it says, for a young person, 16 to 22, what would be some ideal first dates? That's an interesting question, Rosado, because, I mean, if you look at social media, I think you might get a false sense of women being, girls that age, being a little bit expecting too much. And boy, what's tough about it now is that nowadays, from what I gather, from what I'm shown and told anyway, like when I would ask a girl on a date, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Right? And then, 80% chance they'd tell you. Sometimes that just surprised me. But now it just feels like there's so much pressure on the guys, like it's a contest. like she's going to decide how much she likes you just by what you can figure out to do on the first date instead of the actual content of what happens on the date. Like I said, with Donna, I didn't want it to be fake. And what I mean by fake is I got the money to be like going out to dinner. I knew it was going to be a long distance thing, right? So I know I don't have the money to like, let's go out to dinner or a movie. I don't have $150 to spend on one date every week. I don't have it. And so I wanted the date to be what our dates would be. I said, come over, I'll cook you dinner, and you spend the night. Bring the dog, we'll hang out on the couch. And that's what we did. So there wasn't a fake expectation. But of course, older, and you're asking about young kids, and you guys are going to want to go out. Honestly, the best advice I can give you, Rosado, is that if it matters a whole hell of a lot to her where the first date is, yeah, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. That would be my suggestion. Because if it really matters to her, like if she's going to be like, Roadhouse, oh, that's so cheap. Like if she's going to have any real problems with where you're going to go, if it's like the meal is too cheap or something like that, I mean, don't take her to McDonald's, but you know what I mean. Like if she's really going to have a problem, like if going out to get some subs and then go bowling, if that's not good enough, adios, amiga. If she's going to be too picky about it, just no. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Colby. Trey says 2028, right? Yeah, baby Trey. I like that, baby Trey. Now movies, coffee out of the question. $200 restaurant for the first date. God. Nope. I just cook them dinner. Honestly, for you guys that are if you're living by yourself, if you're old enough to live by yourself, take a couple cooking courses and buy yourself some good cookware and cook her dinner. And if that's not good enough for her, adios, amiga. Yeah, then we'll have young hockey YouTubers talking about their 4 wives. Oh, God, no. I don't need 4 wives. Oh, my God, no. There we go. Trey's got some good stuff. Bowling, Top Golf, rock climbing, laser tag, escape rooms, museum cooking class, sushi, mini golf, local live music. Yeah, that's all good date ideas. There you go. Yeah, cooking class, Rosado. Yeah, man. Uh-oh. Almost closed out my whole browser. Yeah, you eat the food. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, super bad when they were making the tiramisu. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good, funny movie too, man. Yeah. What was that you asked, Simon? Right now, Simon, we don't do a whole lot outside the house because she works all week, right? So we eat together, we take our naps, we play Uno. Which, speaking of which, Saturday night we're going to try. I don't want to guarantee yet, but our intent, Donna and I, our intent on Saturday night is to be here doing one of our inappropriate conversation streams. The first inappropriate conversation stream tentatively planned for probably 8 o'clock Saturday night. Tara Crow says, I wonder what proms are like these days. I remember back when I got rejected by 2 girls to go with me, I ended up working that night instead. Oh, Damn, bro. That's harsh. I didn't go to prom. I went to homecoming. I didn't go to prom. But I do remember going to homecoming with, well, actually, I went to my ex-girlfriend's homecoming. I went to her homecoming. I had the whole Miami Vice jacket. I had the whole long-ass hair. No more slow dancing? Like, are you not allowed to slow dance, or just the kids don't do it? Everyone goes batshit insane for promposals. Unbelievable. So it says people just go with whoever say yes. Some people don't go. They don't even have a date. Are we both going to be naked? No, Rosado, we will not be naked. We may be drunk and stoned, but we will not be naked until the camera is off. Yeah. Yeah, Trey's got the right idea there. Yeah, don't propose in front of either family or at Christmas. That's a hostage situation. Yeah. Trying to think if I ever did anything like that. No, I've always been pretty private with that stuff. I've always been pretty private about that stuff. Yeah. But I didn't, when I was in high school, I didn't date around a whole lot. I mainly had one girlfriend throughout high school. And she didn't go to my high school. I didn't want to date a girl going to my high school, because then you got to see her all day and talk to her and you know, it was just like it kind of made you feel like you were on top of one another. It was all so, yeah, that's like being forced to say yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, Colby wants to know if I have any crazy mother-in-law stories from others that I can anonymously share. Oh, let me think about this for a second. I have a crazy mother-daughter massage story. Mother-daughter sister story. So this was a woman I worked for at another spa towards the end of my massage career. And she was running like an insurance type of a thing. And so every week I would massage her daughter, and her sister. Yeah, and her sister, different locations. And each insurance form, each massage, I got $250 each one. So it was $750 a week I was making just from those three women. And the mother and the one that owned the spa, Dee, and the sister, Laura, conspired together to try to get me to make sexual advances on them so that I would get in trouble. But they told the daughter, and the daughter told me. So every time the mother or the sister would start to plan something and was talking to me about, hey, maybe I'd like you to do this, maybe I'd like you to do this, the daughter would tell me about what they were going to plan. And so I would play along. And then for like 2 or 3 different sessions, like I would almost do what they asked. I was like, no, you're married. No, you're married. No, I can't do it. And so then they would go back to the daughter, and they were telling the daughter to try to get me to do it. like they were using the daughter. They were trying to get the daughter to like come on to me, but then also have the daughter talk to me like, you know, my mom kind of likes you, and her sister, like maybe you're in, like, and so it was just an absolute cluster. And eventually I just like blocked all the numbers. I blocked all the numbers. The daughter was like 23, so it was all above board, right? And so eventually, just like it all exploded, and like they were all fighting with, like the mother found out, and the sister found out, and then the husband of the sister found out, and it was just a mess. And I was just like scot-free. I was just like, of course, I wasn't making that $750 a week anymore, but I was making good enough money at that point where I could eat that. But it was crazy, man, because the daughter ratted them both out. The daughter ratted them both out. And so I had a lot of fun with that for about a month until it blew up. And then I blocked the numbers, and a couple of them leave, the mother and the sister were leaving voicemails. It's okay, I understand. You don't have to be mad. You can come back and we can still do the massages. I'm like, hell no. Hell no. It was wild. Colby, yeah. So Kyle is 26, and Matthias is going to be 21 on Saturday. Matthias' 21st birthday is on Saturday. And then my daughter is 23 now, 22, 23. Going to be 24 in March. She's 2 years younger than Kyle. So I guess she's 23 now. Jesus. That's wild. Colby, have a massage couples at the same time. Colby, all you have to do, here's the answer to your question. The question goes like this. Have you blank during a massage? Just put yes. Just put yes. Fill in your own blank. The answers are all yes. Okay, there's a few that might be no. I should take that back. There's a couple that might be no. But they're mostly yes. Money talks. Money talks. Trey, we can take Matthias to the elbow room. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ain't that the truth? Oh my God. Let me see here if yeah, that's what I figured. Hold on a second. Bear with me for a second. Okay. John says, I hope none of these people subscribe to the channel. No. I only even know two. There's only two of my former clients, two, believe, that are Facebook friends from way back in the day. Always says, did I ever have to deal with pain in the ass family members from the women I was with? So, I mean, technically the answer there is yes, right? Technically the answer there is yes. Nothing, I mean, the mother-daughter sister story was probably as bad as it got, for sure. That was just crazy. Like there's no feeling in the world like a woman coming on to you when you know as a fact that she's purposefully doing it to try to get you in trouble, but you already know that, so you know you're not going to do anything. Like there's just like, it's crazy having that kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Where you're just waiting for her to say something, waiting for her to make a move, and you're locked in, and you're just like, I wonder what she's gonna do this time. What is she gonna say this time? What line is she gonna use on me this time? It was wild. All right, Rosado, we'll see you. We're just about done here. Yeah, Colby, it was crazy. I think what she was trying to do in the end, Colby, I believe what she was trying to do was blackmail me into doing the insurance massages for her and other people and splitting the money with her. I believe that's what she was trying to do. It's like, hey, if you're going to get $250 a massage, I'll set you up with my friends. I'll give you half. I think she was trying to set me up so that she could blackmail me into having to do that. Because that kind of makes some sense. You know what I mean? Which sucks, because if she would have just offered it like straight and been like, hey, I would have split it with her. $125 for an hour massage is still nothing to sneeze at. But I'm pretty sure that's what she was doing, was trying to blackmail me into doing that. So, all right, everybody. I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I will be live on the Hockey Channel tomorrow at noon. I'm going to have a football video out tomorrow. And men's channel still have 2 more videos out tomorrow. Saturday, tentatively, Donna and I will be here 8 o'clock Saturday night for Inappropriate Conversations. That should be fun. And then we'll go from there. And then next week, we're going to do another classic Dolphin game. I think we're going to do the Marino comeback game. Pretty sure that's what we're going to do next week. That should be fun. So, all right, everybody. Appreciate everybody hanging out. I hope you guys have a good time. Get some value out of it. And I will see you all tomorrow at noon.